Every once in a rare way, a news event cuts so deep, gets so close to the bone, that 10 years down the line, as a collective, the country still bleeds.
दिसंबर की इस रात को कभी मत भूलिएगा।
6 men, including a juvenile, gang-raped a 23-year-old student in a moving bus in the national capital.
My job was on the line. I have done many investigations. I have taken a lot of risks in my life. But no other case tested me like this case did.
The wounds still raw, the memory still fresh.
The brutality of that incident of Nirbhaya is something which I think it shook everyone in the country.
She was left to die on the side of a street on some main road. It was such a horrific case.
The day Jyoti Singh died and gave birth to Nirbhaya.
वो तकलीफ बांधे रखी। एक निर्दोष को ऐसे कोई कैसे कर सकता है? उसके साथ क्यों हुआ?
Ten years ago, a dark, bitterly cold Delhi winter night. The savagery of one crime. In her suffering, she shook the beam of an entire nation. Nirbhaya was that watershed moment for India that should have changed India and how we look at women's security.
It took 9 years for Nirbhaya's culprits to get hanging. We could not give a clear-cut message. It was a wrong message. In fact, it was injustice.
United in anger, the country called for a change. Change for the good, change for hope, change with the hope that the streets would be safe since then.
Now, in hindsight, if I look at it, I'd say no government across the world would have been able to handle a situation like this or done everything correctly.
Time, they say, heals, smoothens the rough edges, fills in the empty crevices, dulls the piercing pain of a scream we really never heard. But as I walk down the aisles of 10-year-old history, it is as if her screams echo still.
Why should it take so much of time? Change the system in such a manner that these cases get disposed of expeditiously.
निर्भया को 10 साल हो गए हैं आशा जी। आपको लगता है कुछ बदला है?
नहीं, कुछ नहीं बदला।
How does one tell a story retold so many times? Maybe it should be from here. The agony of 23-year-old Nirbhaya lit a fire in the heart of the capital, literally so.
We had no clue about the anger that was, going to spill out onto the streets in Delhi.
The iconic India Gate, the battlefield of venting out the angst, the rage against a system that had failed yet another young woman.
And the protests, it must be said, to a large extent were justified. But when things began to go out of hand, when they resorted to arson, they assaulted the policemen with the iron poles. So it was a very sad scenario.
Protests in the capital are not new to a journalist like me. Politicians, activists, so many more. But this was different.
I would ask you that why do you call it a rape capital?
There was so much anger. There was anger that the perpetrators were not caught. There was anger against government apathy. A sea of rage. Students marching from India Gate with one war cry: justice.
बेटी के साथ जो घटना हुई थी, जो उसके हालात हमने देखे थे, एक निर्दोष को ऐसे कोई कैसे कर सकता है? इससे बुरा तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता.
You know, as heinous was the crime, the protests were unprecedented. How much of a bearing did you think at that time it had on your reputation?
Had we not been able to solve the case, had we not been able to disperse the crowds, had we not been able to get conviction in the courts of law, things could have been very bad. And if things had gone any other way, I would have been most disappointed. I would have been a broken man.
Well, my first reaction was I was quite horrified actually when I came to know about this incident.
For a journalist, this was trial by fire. To stay objective on a story that had become so deeply subjective.
हम हर बार एक हेडलाइन का ही इंतजार करते हैं. मेरा निवेदन सबसे ये है कि हम प्रिवेंट करें हेडलाइन को होने से, हम प्रिवेंट करें इस प्रकार के केसेस को होने से.
Also, my other feeling, sentiment is that no government felt that it would lead to this kind of outpouring of people and outrage. Channelize that grief that people were seeing on television to create a narrative which was political in nature. It did not come from the perspective of talking about women's safety, security, but came in more of attacking the government at that point in time. So it was a deadly cocktail.
These people are seething with anger against a cause that has been long ignored, the security of women in our city and in our country.
But would you think it will always leave an indelible mark on that government then, the Congress?
Yes, that is a record that will continue to haunt many. The Congress president was a woman president. So maybe when they look at it in hindsight, I'm certain that even they would wonder what could have been done better. Now in hindsight, if I look at it, I'd say no government across the world would have been able to handle a situation like this or done everything correctly.
Nirbhaya, Jyoti Singh. We knew her. We were rooting for her. We wanted justice for her. How big is the Nirbhaya incident in your career?
Perhaps the biggest, the most challenging case. And my job was on the line. I've taken a lot of risks in my life. But no other case tested me like this case did.
I was here as they marched their way through one of the most defining images of India's narrative.
देखिए, उस टाइम का तो हमने देखा ही नहीं. हम तो अंदर ही रहते थे, हम तो बाहर आते भी नहीं थे, नीचे ही नहीं उतरते थे. पता नहीं कितने मंजिल पे आईसीयू था, हम वहीं पे रहते थे. एक बार हम हॉस्पिटल में बहुत परेशान थे कि पता नहीं क्या होगा. तो एक डॉक्टर थे, उन्होंने हमें टीवी पे दिखाया कि आप अकेले नहीं हो, हम लोग तो आपके साथ हैं. देखो बाहर आपके लिए लोग लड़ रहे हैं.
You know, was there a moment or an incident or maybe a picture that spoke to you, that triggered something in you then?
I think her mother's eyes, her mother's expressions carried so much pain, and I think it was a collective I think, feeling of what she was feeling and going through. So I think every time I saw her on screen, my heart just broke like 100 times over. Every time. It moved me no end.
A protest turned into an agitation. An agitation turned into a movement. People from all walks of life together in one voice.
The guys who were involved with us, there was not even, a little remorse that what they have done is something what we have done is wrong. Someone said that I am the one who put my hands in and pulled out her intestine. The beastly mindset what they had is actually shook the entire country.
The whole thing of rods being inserted and the kind of torture she had gone through. We've been hearing about rape cases before Nirbhaya, but that was maybe, you can say, the nail in the coffin, or we thought enough is enough.
Two things were important in this case about why it became so sensational. One, of course, is the brutality of the act. The second is that it happened in the heart of the country, in the capital. It happened to two, ordinary persons, people like you and me. It gave the impression that, people like you and me are not safe.
And truth be told, maybe more than just being brave of what we saw of the people, it was just fear. Fear of it being you, it being me, or it being her next.
And I just remember reading about this case, and I don't think for the next 10 minutes I could make any sense of what had happened. My blood boiled.
Sir.
Sir. Abhi we are holding a press conference. Wahan jaiye, press conference mein aa jaiye.
I remember being outside and covering it in front of the Delhi police headquarters, the protest. There used to be a constant chorus demanding your resignation at that time. What did you make of it?
I thought it was misplaced because neither the Delhi police nor I had done anything wrong to deserve this, clamor.
इस घटना के संदर्भ में कृपया कोई व्यक्तिगत या कोई हल्का सवाल न करें। आप जो सही सवाल है, रिस्पॉन्सिबल सवाल है, वैसे ही सवाल करें। सर एक सवाल नहीं, एक मिनट लेकिन सुन एक मिनट।
Part of it was politics. The then Chief Minister thought that this was the time to strike and get control over the police.
One of our colleagues has just gotten hit. Deepak, if you can just pan the camera here, faced a lathi on his leg. So when I tell you that this is a crackdown concerning everybody here, they're cracking down on journalists as well.
There have been so many other cases which were worse or as brutal as Nirbhaya. Why do you feel Nirbhaya caught on to the imagination of the people as India so quickly?
The timing of the case coincided with the then ruling party coming under tremendous flack because of all the scams that had happened. People were very much anti-establishment at that point of time.
Accountability was sought. Accountability was demanded. But there was a huge amount of students as well. Nirbhaya was at that time still alive, fighting for her life. I was there, I remember, on India Gate at that point of time. And suddenly the Delhi police let go. There was water cannons in the end of December.
The police is resorting to the use of water cannons and lathi charge, and the protesters are in turn pelting stones at the Delhi police.
A whole bunch of people from the other side have actually been chased all the way this way, as you can see.
It looked like a war zone. There were multiple fires all across India Gate. The people were still running amok. There were a lot of cops because what had happened in the day. Do you regret it? Because a lot of it were also students and people who had come from all walks of life.
Not at all. In fact, those orders were given by me. I have no hesitation in owning up.
Massive incident has happened. It has exposed security lapses. It has exposed insensitivity coming from the police force as well. They were trying to do whatever they could. They realized that their communication was all over the place. They had erred in many instances. But they were not trying to accept that, they were defending it. I think if there would have been an acceptance that yes, there has been a massive goof up.
The mood, the anger of the public was justified, is what I think. The cops should have been a little more empathetic towards the people. Basic crowd was, 90% of the crowd was a normal public crowd.
And I remember how I was brutally beaten by the Delhi police just for protesting.
We had given them enough warnings, enough notice, but they were not prepared to listen. There were no leaders we could reach out to. There was nobody to talk to.
और इन असामाजिक तत्वों के हाईजैक करने से ये प्रोटेस्ट जो है ये वायलेंट हो रहा था. ये लोग बार बार हमारे पुलिस बैरिकेड को तोड़ रहे थे.
And once they started resorting to arson and assaulting the policemen, there was no option left with us.
And they will always find a reason to come up with why they behaved in a certain manner, because they are the people who are in power at that point. You're the police, you have a department behind you.
If a particular case gets some limelight or something really gruesome happens, then we see that the police definitely comes in motion, and at least in order to silence the public and in order to just put forth a view that okay, we are doing something happens. Are they making that kind of an effort to go out of their way and catch the criminals and make sure that the case is so strong that he is not able to get any relief? I really don't think so.
Angst, anger, fear. But some did blame her. Blame her for being in a bus and not an auto rickshaw. Blame her for being out at 8 p.m. And some did blame her for what happened to her. But is this safe? What is safe?
और 2012 में भी हम पे भी सवाल उठाए गए कि क्यों गई लड़की, रात को क्या कर रही थी.
I was in the same mall where this girl was. At the same time, when I heard that she was brutally gang raped, it really shook me that it could have been me.
But when you look at it, I mean, Nirbhaya happened 10 years, a decade, and then what? Again the same, one more rape, one more gang rape, one more child is raped, and you have again candlelit marches, and then we forget about it. We go about doing our own work.
आज भी आपके सामने जो घटना चल रही है, जो लड़की के टुकड़े टुकड़े हुए हैं, यही हो रहा है कि उसने उसको छोड़ क्यों नहीं दिया. जिस बच्ची ने अपना परिवार छोड़ दिया, घर बार छोड़ दिया, और उस बच्ची के साथ ऐसी बर्बरता, आप कैसे इंसान हो सकते हो?
Fear, they say, is a dangerous thing. Fear, perhaps, in every step we take. What if that shadow that chases me is not just that of mine? Fear.
I suffer from the same fear. Very, very uncanny ways, this lack of safety has seeped into our psyche, and it's a part of our world.
तो कहीं ना कहीं हमारी सिस्टम की कमी है. कानून का किसी को डर नहीं है, पुलिस को किसी का नहीं डर है, इंजाम का किसी को नहीं डर है कि नहीं हम ये करेंगे तो हमें कुछ होगा.
Any man who rapes a woman is not mentally fit. He's not mentally fit. You know, the way they speak, the way they watch, the way they probably have a discussion with others, or the way they behave with women. We notice, we see the changes. So with that, we need to report.
And I got down at Vidhan Sabha metro station, and I had to walk for 10 minutes to my house. And in those 10 minutes, at least 2 cars stopped. In my mind, I was really thinking that, you know, something will really go wrong today. It is not something that we can get rid of easily.
And I don't say, oh, because I'm a woman, this needs to be prioritized. Simply because they are 1/2 of your population. And if their problems are not heard, or their decisions are being made by male-dominated parliament or male-dominated assemblies, and they do not even have a voice in these systems, they're never going to be a priority.
So where does the problem lie? With me? With you? With them? With the society? The way they approach its women? The way they look at their women?
You. It's you who stares at me, right? What is it that you feed off? What is it that empowers you? And what provokes you or titillates you?
Is it my skirt? Is it too short?
Oh no, it's my bra strap. Too bright?
Is it my lipstick too loud or red?
Or is it the shape of my body? Too many curves for you, huh?
But even in these loose folds where I hide myself,
you still, even with this.
Even with this? Even then you stare, right?
Even when I get all covered, you still stare.
If I tie my hair,
Ponytail,
or I let it loose.
no kajal, no lipstick, or no makeup at all, but you still stare. You.
I'm talking to you.
I can see you stare.
I would only say that when we take all stakeholders along and we make this a priority where everybody is talking about what is good, what is bad, and stop dumping all the do's and don'ts to the women.
And it's not one magic wand like you just do and the women's safety will come. You have to put efforts towards that. At the same time, the onus is also or maximum on society. What kind of upbringing we are giving to our boys?
Start telling the men how to behave in public places and how to behave with the opposite gender.
That very, very misogynist and that patriarchal mindset that a woman is my property and I can misuse her the way I want to. That mindset needs to go, and this is where we need to bring up our men saying that you cannot have that kind of a mindset.
Nirbhaya's gang rape and murder was a call for change, a cry for help, unprecedented call for safety of our tribe.
I propose to set up a fund. Let us call it the Nirbhaya Fund, and government will contribute rupees 1,000 crore.
Following the tragedy of December 2012, the government has set up a dedicated fund, Nirbhaya Fund, which can be utilized for projects specifically designed to improve the safety and security of women. Violence and abuse against women and girls is frequent on streets, and such occurrences restrict women's right to mobility, discouraging their freedom to walk freely and move in public spaces of their choice.
As of 2021-22, over 6,000 crores have been allocated to the Nirbhaya Fund since its inception. Out of this, over 4,000 crore was released to different departments and states. The irony is that just 2,989 crores were utilized, which perhaps answers a part of the question why your city is still unsafe.
And I haven't seen many parliamentarians questioning on what has happened on the fund in terms of its disbursement. There's so much lack of transparency in all of this.
Central government will end up saying it's a state government's challenge and state government needs to step up, etc. The state government will end up saying that it has to come from Women and Child Welfare Ministry and funds are delayed, etc. We don't get enough funds. And that is where, like I said, it's about prioritizing.
Every political party in every state, the first thing which comes into their election manifesto is we will protect women. We will give all we can to safeguard them and to protect them and to empower them. But then when you look at the Nirbhaya funds which are not used at all, and every state we come across, there are these rape cases. I mean, in my state in Tamil Nadu itself, you see there are so many rape cases.
Do they get relief under the Nirbhaya fund? Hardly any. It started with a fund of 1000 crores. It has been reduced significantly. Now it is something around 200-250 crores. And even that, there is the way, the manner in which it is disbursed is highly questionable and reflects the complete apathetic behavior of governments as far as Nirbhayas are concerned.
Anything that safeguards our women and makes them feel safer, especially girls who have to step out, have to study, they have enough public transportation, they have safe zones. That is extremely important. Your lit up streets, movement where there are many women out there in that space. That will definitely help. How do you create that is also a lot to do with misogyny that prevails. So a lot of things that need to be coming together. Like I said, the Home Ministry can work closely with the Women and Child Welfare Ministry to be able to have better outcomes through Nirbhaya Fund.
Now you must be wondering how states have performed as per the allocation of funds. 22 out of 36 states and union territories have utilized under 2/3 of the funds. Ironically, Delhi, which was branded the rape capital of India, tops the list with 97% utilization. Misuse of funds can be clearly seen in states like Andhra Pradesh. Since 2016, a total of over 120 crores was allotted to the state, of which just 41 crores was utilized. Strangely, through the Ministry of Road and Transport, close to 60 crores were given for the Abhaya project proposal for safety of women and girl child. In this, the government of Andhra Pradesh has utilized just 7.79 crores. Similarly, in Uttar Pradesh, 80 crores released for women's safety in public transport, just 31 crores utilized. Did the Nirbhaya gang rape and murder case offer a chance to set an example? Quick justice was perhaps something to begin with.
तो मुझे ये चीज़ बांधे रखी कि अगर है सज़ा तो इस केस में ज़रूर मिलेगी, क्योंकि इससे ख़राब केस कुछ नहीं हो सकता। बेटी के साथ जो बर्बरता हुई थी वो चीज़ मुझे बांधे रखी कि नहीं, मुझे लड़ना है, चाहे मेरे को जितने साल लड़ना पड़े लड़ेंगे और जल्दी इंसाफ मिल जाएगा। लेकिन समय खिंच गया, वक्त निकल गया, 8 साल बीत गए।
उसका दुख ही हमारी ताकत बढ़ी। देखिए परेशान तो हैं कि इन लोगों ने किस तरह से डिले की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, कितने बार ये पोस्टपोन करेंगे। तो अब मेरा कानून से विश्वास उठ रहा है।
But from the judiciary's point of view, an 8-year wait for justice was nothing short of travesty.
How will it stop? It took 9 years for Nirbhaya's culprits to get hanging. We could not give a clear-cut message. It was a wrong message. In fact, it was injustice.
There are some cases which get decided very fast and some cases take years together. Nirbhaya is one of them. There are other cases which have taken even more than 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. There's a problem with our criminal justice system, and I think that needs to be looked at very, very seriously, so that a case is decided as soon as possible, within a year, to the extent possible, maximum 2 years,
आपको लगता है कि अगर इतना आक्रोश नहीं होता जनता में तो उन लोगों को फांसी मिलती?
नहीं, जो हालात हैं जैसे मुजरिमें छूट रहे हैं, उनके लिए लोग सपोर्ट में आ रहे हैं, तो नहीं लगता। मैं तो आज भी हाथ जोड़ के दिल से सबका धन्यवाद करती हूँ, चाहे समाज के लोग हों, चाहे मीडिया के लोग हों, सिस्टम में बैठे जो भी सरकारी लोग हों, सबने मदद किया। खासकर समाज के बच्चों ने, लड़कियों ने, लड़कों ने मदद साथ खड़े रहे, तो हमें लगता है कि शायद उससे ही हम इंसाफ हमें मिल पाया, नहीं तो नहीं मिलता, मुश्किल हो जाता।
As citizens, Supreme Court remains a strong hope amongst the pillars of democracy. At times, even that faith is shook.
आंटी, आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है अगर हम आपको कैमरा पे ले लेते हैं? आप कंफर्टेबल हो?
नहीं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। सज़ा तो हमें मिली है,
उनको तो बरी कर दिया। हम तो न जीते में न मरते में, जैसे बोलते जिंदा लाश बन के रह गए।
मेरी लड़की मेरे सामने से गई है, वो कैसे समय भूल जाऊंगा मैं।
The irony of it all, 2 gang rapes in the very same year, both in the national capital. Both severely brutal. But the fates of the convicts in both cases completely different.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट से हमें बहुत बड़ी उम्मीद थी, पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने तो ऐसी उम्मीद तोड़ी हमारी कि जो सबसे बड़ा मंदिर था ना, वहाँ से बिल्कुल हम हार गए।
हाँ, अगर मैं पॉलिटिक्स बाज नेता होता या पैसे से दबंग होता तो शायद मेरे साथ में ये अन्याय नहीं होता जो 7 तारीख को हुआ है। जो घटना घटी मेरे साथ में, मेरे लड़की के साथ में, वो तो बहुत बड़ा अन्याय है।
For Kuwar Singh Negi and Rajeshwari Negi, a decade-long battle with courts fighting for justice for their daughter ended in a rude shock. All 3 accused, who were convicted in lower courts with the death penalty, 10 years on, acquitted by the Supreme Court, walked free.
I think there is a problem with the entire system. I feel that at the end of the day, a girl gets raped by some men and then the entire system rapes her. Right from filing the FIR to the investigation to the trial to the entire stigma attached and the reaction of the society, it's just that rape again and again and again, and it's really unfortunate.
No doubt about it. I mean, the messaging is very wrong. Judges have to be sensitive, you know. They have to be sensitive and they have to realize what exactly is going on in a rape case.
The mother's cries outside the court for justice would leave you numb.
Honestly, I myself lost hope in this particular case. So I could not reassure them. I really could not. I just kept hugging her. I really had no words to tell her. For last 7-8 years, I've been telling them they'll go to, they'll meet their fate. They'll go for capital punishment. You don't worry. But when this happens, what can I tell them?
And this photo of her father sitting below this tree outside the court would forever burn through the hearts of this country and burn through what we call the Indian criminal justice system.
What does a judge have before him or her in a case of rape? Only the evidence. There is an investigation that has been done by the police. They have filed a charge sheet. Witnesses have been examined. This is the only material that is there before the judge.
जो फांसी हो चुकी जिन मुजरिमों को 2 जगह से और तीसरी जगह उनको बरी कर दिया जाए, तो इससे बड़ा बदलाव क्या हो सकता है हमारे, कि आज तो चलो मेरे बेटी के साथ हो गया, कल किसी और बिटिया के साथ होगा, तो ऐसे मतलब माँ बापों का सबका तो विश्वास उड़ जाएगा ना हमारा, कहाँ हम न्याय के लिए जाएंगे फिर.
You mentioned about the Chawla case. I don't know all the details, but the very fact that it has been thrown out by the court means there were some gaps. Our case also went to the High Court, it went to the Supreme Court. So many people appeared for the accused, but it was because of the quality of evidence that we had that they could not get any reprieve.
So the judge will primarily go on the basis of the evidence that is on record. Okay, you can't say that, well, I will look at something else. Let me talk to the victim or let me talk to the family of the victim and see whether there's something which should have come on the record but has not come on the record. The judges don't function like that.
तो इसमें हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते, हमारे हाथ में क्या है, हम तो न पढ़े न लिखे न, हमें तो ये भी पढ़ना नहीं आता कि क्या लिखा है उस फाइलों में, हम तो खाली देखते हो तो जैसे बोलते काला अक्षर भैंस बराबर. अब लोअर कोर्ट्स हुई तो उनको बोलो भाई सबूत पूरे ढूंढो, गवाह ढूंढो, अब हम सजा तो हमें मिली है.
Puts the spotlight on all the cases where this kind of work, because you're capable, the Delhi police is capable of doing it, it just doesn't happen.
I think I agree with you. The same kind of due diligence in investigation ought to be done in all the cases. Police is not able to devote as much time as it should to all the cases. This is a fact of life. The police act very promptly when there is a case which invites a lot of public opinion and public uproar.
Do you see that not happening because the Delhi police is short-staffed, or is it a lack of will?
The police is overworked, even the supervision is lacking, and so many things. But it should not be like that. Every case should receive the attention it deserves.
Who is responsible for it? Why no action is taken against the concerned police officers or all the other people who were involved in this complete travesty of justice?
In this Chhavla case, last hearing, the final hearing, the prosecutor from the other side, from the culprit side, criminal side, he said, give them mercy, my lord, because they did not chop the body. They just killed her. I didn't know how to react to that situation. I did not even translate that to the father because I thought he'll be hurt. And the least I was expecting that somebody from the bench will object to it. They didn't.
Most of the time, the defining factor. Many times, judges would ask accused, rape accused, are you willing to marry the girl? This is not solution. This is not solution. By it's allowing him that choice. Why is the accused getting that choice? While the woman who's seeking justice is forced into, that decision that that person happens to make at that point in time.
In the same allocation of Nirbhaya funds, the Department of Justice was allocated over 400 crores to set up fast-track courts to dispose of cases pending trial under Rape and POCSO Act. Only 170 crores have been utilized so far.
कानून बहुत ढीला पड़ा. कानून में जो बैठे लोग हैं ना जो 2012 में घटना हुई उससे सबक सीखा, न जो अब हो रहा है उससे, क्योंकि उनकी अपनी ही रफ्तार है. वही सालों साल केस चलना. फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट तो उसी टाइम बने थे. आज भी देख रहे हैं कि ये 10-10 साल हो जाते हैं. तो ये सब चीज़ों का समाज पे बहुत असर पड़ता है, क्योंकि इतना केस में जब टाइम खींचता है तो उनके सपोर्ट में जाता है. उनके लिए लोगों के मन में भावना होती है कि इतने साल रह गए. ये भी उनका रूल है कि 10 साल, 12 साल, 15 साल बीत गया तो इतने साल निकल गए, इनको माफ़ कर दे. जो परिवार 10 साल, 12 साल, 8 साल संघर्ष करता है वो एक भरोसे पे करता है कि हमको इंसाफ मिलेगा. और 10 साल बाद जो फैसले आते हैं, आ रहे हैं, तो समाज में तो गलत संदेश जाता ही जाता है. जो परिवार है, जो माँ बाप है, जो विक्टिम है, वो टूट जाते हैं.
फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट सिस्टम is in my view, it's a knee-jerk reaction. You have special courts, then you have fast-track courts, then you have special fast-track courts, then you have fast-track special courts. It's just changing the words here and there. The system must be shaken up so that every case is fast-tracked. That is what is the need of the justice delivery system.
In matters of rape, messaging is crucial. The release of Bilkis Bano's rape convicts is, was, and will be wrong messaging.
That's the question we asked viewers today. What happened to her?
What happened to in India in 2012, banding together, asking for death for the rapists of Nirbhaya. And today, where is that outrage?
It just disgusts me to the core that, okay, now we have the laws in place. They have been, these accused have been convicted. The court of law has done its responsibility. Policies have been put in place. But one fine day, one of the accused comes and says, give me a parole because of my good behavior. They apply this in retrospect and give it to all the 10 accused. What does it speak about, punishment?
I still have faith in my judiciary system. But there could be some loophole somewhere. It was very unfortunate in Bilkis Bano case, but I'm sure even the judges who had given this judgment they would have regretted giving this judgment, but then they don't have a choice. They have to go by the law. They have to go by the book.
These men, when they walk free, what is the message that is given to the rapists in the country? That you can rape, you can do anything, and yet you will be able to walk free. I think it is the biggest travesty of justice, and I think it completely exposes the underbelly of the criminal justice system.
What was worse is the celebration of the release, the garlanding of convicts. It raised questions on the remission policy and grounds for allowing parole.
In the cases that you mentioned, Bilkis Bano, for example, the decision was not taken by the judges to grant remission. The decision was taken by the state government or the authorities in the state government in consultation with the central government. Shouldn't the government wake up and ask, what are we doing? The judge had said that don't release these people. But the judge was overruled by the government. CBI said don't release them. But the CBI was overruled by the government. So introspection is not required from the judiciary in this aspect. It is required from the government.
If the information that we have sought
And that is where state women commissions have a role to play. But more often than not, they are caught in the quagmire of political blame game. What's even more surprising is that all commissions report to the Ministry of Women and Child Development, which released over 600 crores for a project called One Stop Center. The commission only utilized 164 crores of that.
The objective of the One Stop Center project to provide integrated support and assistance to women affected by violence, both in private and public spaces, under one roof.
At the end of the day, the National Commission for Women and the State Women Commissions, they have been set up to help women. They have not been set up to do politics. It's very unfortunate. So they rise on cases which actually suit them. But we've tried to change the norm in the Delhi Commission for Women. We are issuing notices to the Delhi government, we are issuing notices to the central government, we are issuing notices to police, we are issuing notices on all the issues that concern women. Do you feel happy? I feel proud of my work, definitely, but I don't feel happy. Because at the end of the day, nothing changes. We are helping 5 rape survivors, 5 more come the next day.
As per the National Crime Records Bureau, crime against women has been on the rise. The year 2021 saw a total of 428,278 cases registered, the highest in the last decade. Specific to rape, 2021 records show a total of over 31,000 cases registered, and it's been a constant through the years. Let's simplify that for you. A total of 31,677 cases in 2021, one single year. That's 2,583 cases of rape every month. 645 cases of rape every week. 90 cases of rape every day. Every 15 minutes, a girl is raped in India. And mind you, these are official reported figures. As I walk these streets, these roads, these alleys, hours past the time Nirbhaya was attacked, the game of smoke and mirrors continues.
It is not as if one case of rape happens and it shakes the conscience of the people and thereafter rapes will stop. It never happens like that, unfortunately.
The smart play of words, political narratives, a game of shadows and lights as well.
So we women also stand divided because of our political choices, when it comes to ensuring justice, delivery of justice. And that, I think, is where we are failing our women.
I'm still waiting for, what Gandhi said, the day a woman can wear her jewels and walk alone on the streets at 12 in midnight. I would say India's got its real freedom. And one thing is, we need to tell those who always blame the woman for being raped, we need to tell them, shut up. And that message needs to go loud and clear.
To mask undelivered promises, undelivered commitments.
Maybe I see the world from a very dark lens. That is because on a daily basis, Delhi, which is the capital of the country, is receiving 6 to 10 rape cases. It is the same old struggle.
We have failed Nirbhaya, we have failed each and every daughter of this country.
Undelivered allegations, undelivered justice.
One way to look at it is to say that, reporting has increased. The number of rapes remain the same, but the reporting has increased. But then that's hardly an answer. It means that rapes are taking place. What can be done? I'm sure they'll come out with some solutions. If the judiciary sits down and thinks, I'm sure they can come out with some solutions as well.
Is there hope? Hope sometimes is a compromised word.
देखिए, उम्मीद पे तो दुनिया कायम रहती है. हम भी हैं और लोग भी हैं. उम्मीद ही कर सकते हैं क्योंकि इसके अलावा कोई रास्ता नहीं है. लेकिन जिस तरह से हालात है तो बहुत मुश्किल है कि हम कहें कि नहीं, लोगों को इंसाफ मिलेगा.
Do not go gentle into the good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. For silence has been the norm far too long. What angers us should awaken us together. It is that one moment in time. Rage, rage, rage against the dying of this light.